Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. When we read chapter 1149 of One Piece and see Gaban fighting, staying focused, not hesitating, it feels like he never stopped being a pirate. Even if he spent decades away from the seas, his instincts are still there, sharp in his eyes, in his strikes, in the haki that overflows the moment he senses that Colin is about to lose his life. It's as if even after all this time, he still carries the fire of someone who once sailed beside the only man to ever become the Pirate King. And maybe, just maybe, that fire never truly went out. The question I start to ask is this. Now that Gaban sees everything that's happening, now that he feels again the thrill of battle, the risk, the loss, the choice between fighting and protecting, could this reignite his desire to once again sail on the ship of the King of the Seas? Not Roger's ship this time. Maybe now it's Luffy's. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Chapter 1149 doesn't just show Gaban in combat, it also reinforces something we've been sensing for a while, his emotional connection to Elbaf. He doesn't just show up as some legendary old man who came back to help, he's there as someone with a direct bond to those people, that land, that boy, Colin. The slash he delivers to Summers with the attack named Futenraku isn't just a beautiful technique with a musical name, it's the expression of someone carrying inside the memory of battles and friends he may never have seen again. And even so, he fights. Even so, he protects. But the moment that really made me think about this theory is when his observation haki shows him that there's no time, that even with all his strength, with all his past, he won't be able to reach Colin in time to save him. And what does he do? He surrenders, not because he's giving up, but because he knows that resisting would cost the boy's life. And there, when he lowers his axe and says, "Please stop," it's not just Gaban the swordsman speaking, it's the man who saw Roger become king and who now sees, perhaps in Colin, in Elbaf, or even in Luffy, the echo of that ancient journey. The difference is that maybe now he's no longer a main pillar, but still, maybe he wants to be there, just to see, just to be sure it was all worth it. And I think that's where the point lies. If Gaban still carries that flame, if he still holds in his heart the memory of the last king, it makes sense to think that seeing Luffy so close to the same destiny, he might feel the desire, or even the duty, to set sail again. Because when you look at everything happening with the God's Knights, with Emu, with the Celestial Dragons, with Elbaf in danger, and even with Brook's return getting the spotlight at the end of the chapter, all of it seems to set the perfect stage for Gaban to return, not just as a warrior, but maybe, just maybe, as a member of the new pirate era. The strongest moment is when Gaban says sorry as he falls. It's not just an apology to Colin, it feels almost like a broken promise to Roger, or to Elbaf, or even to himself. He failed there, and he knows it, but if he survives, and I believe he will, this fall might be the trigger for him to make a decision. After all, a man like him wouldn't retire without reason. Maybe he was waiting for the next king, and the next king is here. He's right there on the island of the giants, making history, wearing the straw hat that Shanks himself gave him, holding the fruit the whole world feared, but which he turned into laughter and freedom. If Gaban saw Roger become king, then maybe he wants to be on Luffy's ship when that title is passed on. Not as the protagonist, but as a witness, and that's where the weight of the chapter lies. Because if there's one thing Oda does well, it's creating mirrors between generations. And everything in Elbaf seems to mirror the beginning of the journey of the legendary pirates of the past. And Gaban, being who he is, has every reason to feel that now is the time. He knows the world is changing. He feels that the end is near, but not in a bad way, in the sense of a cycle, of transition. If he joined Roger back then to witness the birth of an era, maybe now he wants to join Luffy to see the end of that old era and the beginning of the new one. The era of the sun god. The chapter ends with black lightning and Imu's power overflowing through Gunko's body. And even if Gaban has fallen, I believe he will still fight. I believe he will rise again. And when he does, he may have already made his choice. Maybe he'll board Luffy's ship, not to lead, not to take anyone's place, but to see with his own eyes, to feel the wind on his face again, the laughter of crewmates, the freedom that only the sea offers. And who knows, to one day say, I saw two kings rise in my lifetime. Gaban is a man who witnessed the birth of an era, and he may very well want to see its end too. And if that end comes through Luffy, then it makes perfect sense for him to want to be there. Not out of vanity, but because he understands the weight of being a king. And even more, he understands what it means to be a crew member of a king. Luffy never cared about that. He never asked for respect or recognition. He doesn't sail to be called king, but that only increases his value in the eyes of someone like Gaban, because Roger was the same, and that's why he became king. And maybe Gaban sees that same fire in Luffy, The kind of man who doesn't command, but inspires. Who doesn't demand loyalty, but earns it naturally. And that can't be taught or imitated. That's rare. That's why Shanks trusted him with the hat. That's why Rayleigh came out of retirement to train him. And that's why maybe Gaban feels it's time to head out to sea again. Gaban joining Luffy's crew wouldn't be like any other new member. Luffy doesn't choose people for their strength. He chooses them for the vibe, for the feeling, for the bond. And if Gaban showed him that, if he made it clear he doesn't want to be a mentor or a captain or Roger's shadow, but a companion, an ally, a crewmate, Luffy would accept him. Maybe with that goofy smile of his, maybe with a simple comment like, "Can you cook?" But he'd accept him, because in the end, Luffy has always known when someone has a free heart, and Gaban already proved that when he dropped his axe to try to save a life. That's what matters. The world is already shaken by what happened in Egghead. It's already spiraling with Sabo revealing what he saw in Mary Joy's. Imu manifesting and using bodies as vessels. The God's Knights appearing. Shanks moving with seriousness. And then, out of nowhere, Scopper Gaban returns and says he'll sail with Luffy. That's not just news, that's a symbol. That's a message to everyone. The Pirate King is rising, and even the legends of the past are coming to witness it with their own eyes. And we can't forget the world government. They know who Gaban was. They know he was one of Roger's 3 great pillars. So when he joins Luffy, the message will be clear. They failed to erase Roger's legacy, because Luffy hasn't just inherited his will. He now stands alongside one of the men who was present at the most decisive moment in the history of piracy. That's stronger than any speech. That's living history, walking side by side with the future. And here comes a detail many people might overlook, Shanks' role. Because if we believe that Shanks already knows how the journey ends, if he's holding onto some secret, then Gaban might be the missing piece to make that transition happen. Because Shanks won't sail with Luffy, but maybe because he knows Gaban, because he trusts him, he believes that this is the best way to seal the fate of the Straw Hat. Maybe Shanks himself told Gaban who Luffy really is. Maybe he said, when the time comes, help him get there. And that time has come. Oda doesn't do these things by accident. Gaban showing up now in Elbaf, just when everything is building to a climax, when Luffy is already seen as an emperor, when the world is in chaos. There's no way that's a coincidence. He's not there just to fight. He's there because he has a choice to make. And if he survives the battle against the God Knights, and I believe he will, that choice will be clear. Return to the sea, return to that place where dreams sail free, where crewmates mean everything, where laughter is worth more than gold, where the Pirate King isn't the one who rules, but the one who sets others free. And that king is Luffy. In the end, maybe Gaban just wants this. To see, once again with his own eyes, a man achieve what the world calls impossible. And when he does, it won't be as a legend, it'll be as a crewmate, as a witness, as a friend. And the most beautiful part is that Luffy, without even realizing it, will make it all seem natural. Because to him, the past and the future don't matter. All that matters is whether someone wants to live free. And if Gaban wants that, then the ship's sails are always open to welcome him aboard. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.